إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له، وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء، واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم، ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما. أما بعد، فإن خير الحديث كتاب الله، وخير الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم، وشر الأمور محدثاتها، وكل محدثة بدعة، وكل بدعة ضلالة، وكل ضلالة في النار. As to what follows, my dear brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. And we continue from the Islamic Awakening book by Shaykh ibn Uthaymeen rahmatullahi alayh. And we had previously stopped last week because of Eid. So inshallah, you all enjoyed your Eid. And we continue, and it's unfortunate that we're still in lockdown. But as is the case of the believer, wherever he is, however he is, he tries to be as positive and productive as possible. And so even if the past month has been annoying for you, it's been a time of hardship, may Allah Azza wa Jal ease your affairs, and it hasn't been as productive as you'd like it to be, it's not a problem of what's past, but what we're going to do about it. So if you haven't been as good as you liked, then inshallah Azza wa Jal, you can pick yourself up and continue moving forward. We're still continuing with the different Islamic groups, and we're talking general principles. And so I'll give this reminder again in case we have any new viewers. Alhamdulillah, the book we've been doing for almost 2 years now, and Alhamdulillah, I think we just passed a year and a half. Alhamdulillah, many things we've discussed in detail previously. Some of the lessons are online, not all of them. And so the words that are spoken, please ensure that you understand them in the general context and you don't take them and apply them on any specific case, because then that's when problems happen. The ulama, the mashaykh, the du'at, the students of knowledge, they may be speaking about something, but they speak about it in a general sense. If a person is not qualified, then for them to say those general words and apply it to a specific case can become problematic. So we continue for those following along with the book from page 245. It is not permissible for one to make 2 bay'ahs. Question number 98. Is it permissible for one to make 2 bay'ahs, one for the leader who is in a position of authority, and one for the leader of a political or religious party or group? The questioner here is asking, in a Muslim country, if you have a Muslim authority, but obviously he's the Amir, he's the one that needs to be followed in goodness, etc. You can have sometimes underneath in that country, in that area, you can have certain political leaders or certain religious leaders that people give their full pledge of allegiance to, as-sama' wa ta'a, complete pledge of allegiance, complete obedience. And the question is asking, is that permissible? Is that permissible? The Shaykh rahimahullah replies, it is not permissible for one to make 2 bay'ahs, one for the overall leader in a given country and one for the leader of a particular group or party to which one is affiliated. The Prophet ﷺ said, when 3 people go out on a journey, let them make one of them the Amir. But this does not mean that they give him bay'ah. This hadith simply means that a group should have one person whose saying is final, so that no differences arise. Among other proofs, this hadith indicates that we should block off the door of differences in any way we can. For the vast majority of people, this matter will be quite strange to them. But those within religious circles understand that sometimes you having an Amir, you having a leader can go too far, where people take it as if the person is the Khalifa, and they apply the rules that are there for the Khalifa on this particular Amir, from the way he needs to be listened to, obeyed, the way his shortcomings are to be overlooked, the way he's advised, etc. They take that which is in Quran and Sunnah for the Amir, the great Amir, the leader of the particular nation, and they apply it for the leaders of these groups. And this is extremely problematic because they're very different. Yes, a group, a political group or a religious group, and not one that goes against the way of Quran and Sunnah. We're talking about an organization. They can have an amir, they can have a leader, they can have a head, just like anything is done, any organization is run, any household is run, there needs to be a head. And this is something every religious organization is going to have, like a president, or a larger religious organization is going to have the head of, is going to be the president of the organization who's running over different masajid, different organizations, etc. This is something good and it's needed because someone has to have the last say. Differences are going to arise because we're human beings. So someone has to have the last say, and this keeps things well oiled, it keeps things moving, it keeps things in order, it keeps things consistent, etc. There's accountability. There's a lot of benefits from having the amir. But the amir obviously has limits, and the amir is not Amir al-Azam, he's not the greater amir like the amir of the leader of a country. And so the roles and the way they're going about are much different. As I mentioned at the beginning of going online, if I'm not mistaken, that certain matters, I won't get into too much detail because for the majority of people, it won't be as relevant. But in general, one thing that we can take so that it's these lessons are practical, even for a general crowd or a new crowd that doesn't usually attend or watch these particular lessons, is that always be careful of the person that you are under in terms of an organization, that you don't say anything that goes contrary to Quran and Sunnah from these people. If you find yourself in a position where those that are in authority in your organization are doing things that go against Quran and Sunnah, then this is something that it's preferred and it's a responsibility, if you can, to pull these people up about, advise them, question them in a respectable, polite manner, to see where they're getting this Islamically from, and to not let the harms go. And unfortunately, we've seen in recent times that certain people who failed to do this and gave the leader of certain organizations more respect than they Islamically deserve, then led to major issues. And so we need to be balanced. We need to be people who understand that we respect the leaders of organizations, we respect those in authority, we respect those who Allah Azza wa Jalla has blessed with knowledge, etc., 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 and we put them on a pedestal without doubt, and this needs to happen, but not on a level above what the Quran and Sunnah has placed. So the rules apply to everyone. The rules apply to everyone. We are not fringe Sufi groups. We are not people of innovation who take certain mashayikh above the level of even human being, where they think that, for example, he's here 1 second and then he's in Mecca the next, or he's here and he receives revelation from Jibreel alayhi salam, or he's in private meetings with Al-Khidr alayhi salam. We need to be people who are balanced. We respect the ulama, we respect the mashayikh, we respect the students of knowledge because Allah has told us to respect them. But we never take anyone above the level of prophethood, or we treat anyone above the level of, not the level of prophethood, above the level that Allah and the Prophet ﷺ told us to do. And this will usually come when you're dealing with someone and you start to say some funny things. Be sure to discuss it, to clarify it, to rectify it if you can. And if you say that this is actually something that is clearly going against the Quran and Sunnah, this is something clearly wrong, then you need to remove yourself from that situation and rectify it as best as possible, but don't keep it going on. Organizations that have amirs, it's not a problem. Organizations have leaders, it's not a problem. Every organization has this, every business has this, everything that needs a hierarchy has this. It's all there, it's all fine. It's not a problem as some people like to claim. The extent, the Prophet ﷺ told us if 3 people are going out on a journey, for there to be an amir from amongst them, a leader from amongst them to have the final say, so that matters don't get out of hand and it doesn't become anarchy. But obviously never one to the extent of his authority doesn't extend to the authority of the greater amir, where he implements rulings that he's not meant to, etc. Can't force people to do certain things. That is known. His realm is within his organization and that which the Sharia allowed him to run in his organization. And also that he doesn't go above, some people take him as awliya. He's never ma'soom, he's never a person who is infallible, he's not outside of the Sharia. These are basics which we should know, but unfortunately many people, they continue to make a mistake, and even in Australia this is possible to happen, unfortunately. The next matter every Islamic movement has enemies that are opposed to it. Some Islamic groups outside of this country have been subject of a ruthless attack on part of this country. He's talking about Saudi Arabia, obviously, at that time. Attack on the part of certain writers and journalists. What advice can you give to those who speak negatively about Islamic groups with the intention of disparaging them? The Shaykh Rahimahullah replies, for every Islamic movement there rises a group that is opposed to it, not wanting the truth, and of course it is not possible for us to impose silence on everyone. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in his book, وَكَذَلِكَ جَعَلْنَا لِكُلِّ نَبِيٍّ عَدُوًّا مِنَ الْمُجْرِمِينَ. Thus we have made for every prophet an enemy from amongst the mujrimeen, from amongst the criminals, those that are bad and corrupt. It is a poignant example. Before the first revelation, the Prophet ﷺ was a paragon of trustworthiness and truthfulness amongst the Quraysh. But when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed the message of Islam to him, they called him a liar, a crazy man, a poet, etc. In short, they accuse him of a basket of faults. Because it is inevitable for every Islamic movement to have its enemies, I cannot say that we can eradicate the problem altogether. But I do say that those who are upon the truth should defend themselves as much as they are able to, being patient and hoping for their rewards from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And I hope that their situation improves and that they become stronger. So the Shaykh here is questioned about other groups, and he answered accordingly. How we take that and apply it regarding our da'wah is that sometimes a person not from your group, still within the realm of Ahl-Sunnah, and sometimes even a little bit broader than the realm of Ahl-Sunnah, sometimes they're attacked by people who want bad, not just for that particular group, but for all of the Muslims. It's just that the particular group are the flavor of the day. Be very careful as an individual from another group to go along and to push the faults and to push and to expose the mistakes of that group to those that have a bigger agenda. Don't be foolish. Understand the plots, understand the plans, understand how things work. When they attack a symbol from the symbols of Islam, a shaykh, for example, from the mashayikh, who is either upon the way of the Sunnah completely or close to it, and sometimes even further away from it, many a time the point that they want to make is not that particular individual. It's not that they don't like that particular individual. It's that they have a dislike and a disdain towards Islam altogether. So don't be a person who pushes forward and pushes out their propaganda against this individual, because you will be next. And most of you would know the story of, I can't remember which color it was, but to the statement, I died the day I let the white horse die, the white cow die. This is or the white bull die. This is it's a story about three particular bulls that were in the open, and there was a lion, and the lion thought to himself, how am I going to attack and kill all three and eat all three? I'm not going to be able to do that. So he went to, there was a white one, and there was a black one, and there was a red one. And excuse me for making a mistake with the colors, Dave. To just understand the concept. So he goes one day to the red one, and he says, look, you're red. You can blend in a little bit with the grass. You can get away from things. But that white one, he's making you guys stand out. And how about we come to a deal that he's making you stand out, he's going to cause you problems, people can easily see him. How about you let me eat him, and you two stay on the side, you the red one and the black one, you guys stay on the side, and I promise not to attack you guys. So they agree, they want to save their life. They say, you know what, khalas, yes, he's the lion, yes, he wants to attack us, yes, normally he's our enemy, but we understand that this may be for our good, let's let this guy go. So they allow him to attack the white bull. They could have, all three of them, attacked and killed and the lion and defended each other and remained alive. But they didn't want that. They wanted the easier way out. They were conned by the lion. They let the white bull go. After a short while, obviously the lion's going to get hungry again. So he goes back to the red bull and he says, look, my friend, we worked out a deal before. You helped me out, I helped you out. You're still alive. I didn't attack you. I told you, just let me take the white bull and you go. And now, look, I'm a little bit hungry again. I'll see what I can do with you again. You helped me out before. I was truthful to my word. I didn't attack you. Let me attack the black bull. And when he's attacked, khalas, I'll leave you alone. And we've worked together before and I've kept my word. And inshallah, I'll keep my word with you. Now this bull, he knows that this lion is his enemy. He knows that the lion, he kills and he eats bulls. But he wants to stay alive and he wants the easier way to do that. Together, there's a chance of defending. But he doesn't take that into consideration because that's the hard part. So he says, khalas, I'll strike a deal with you, Mr. Lion. Go and attack the black bull. So the lion goes and he attacks the black bull because he's got a green light now. He goes and attacks the black bull and he dies. Obviously, after a short time, the lion becomes hungry again. And now the red bull is by himself. There's no one to defend him. There's no one to stand next to him. There's no one to come to his aid. It's him by himself. And as he's attacked by the lion and the lion takes hold of his throat, he says, I died the day I let the white bull die. I died the day I let the white bull die. This is a very profound statement and story and parable for us to ponder over, because this is what happens to many people, unfortunately. They look at attacks against other people and they're willing to accept it and say, aha, this is happening to them, it's not going to happen to me. But I give a severe warning, not just a warning, a severe warning to those who are mashayikh or du'at or masajid or organizations, when they see their brothers being attacked and slammed and smashed by the enemies of Islam, for them to think, it's only those people there, it's only those extremists, or it's only those particular individuals, or it's only those that are on a different stance than I am. Be very careful, because after these people, you are next. When these people are out of the way and you're the next line of defense, you will be next until they eventually try and get to Islam. So don't be fooled, don't be silly. Even if you're an individual and people are talking about mashayikh around you, ask them what's the benefit. And I have, alhamdulillah, many friends, and alhamdulillah, they like me, and sometimes they won't like another person. They won't like another person, be him a shaykh or a da'i, and sometimes they'll say things to me about that particular individual. And I told them, why do you keep bringing that person up? What are you going to benefit from talking about him? What are you going to get out of speaking about him? Khalas, you don't like him? Don't take from him. You don't like him? Leave him. You don't like him? Don't give him your hasanat. Now, I may be, even though I'm truthful to them, and I'm sincere, inshallah, in my advice towards them, there's also a sense of selfishness in that, because I need to understand that when I'm promoting, wallah, he's like this, and I may know a million more things worse than what they know about that particular individual. But I need to be smart also, because when I am propagating and I'm affirming their actions, I'm assisting them, and I'm making it worse, the day's going to come where they're going to disagree with me also. And I hope I've instilled in them that, listen, if you don't like someone from the mashayikh, from the du'at, unless he's doing something open and apparent needs to be warned against, khalas, you don't like him, you don't get along with him, you move on. Go to someone else that you do and leave that person alone. Because la qadra, there comes when they disagree with me, the same should be done. Khalas, don't like him, move on. But if I allow myself to partake in them wiping the floor with individuals, then what do I think is going to happen to me when, la qadra, when those people one day have a disagreement with me? So be very careful, whether it's your friends, whether it's your family, whether it's your colleagues, whether it's people that you have enjoyment with. Be very careful to entertain conversations which are extremely un-Islamic, whether it's about other groups or about other individuals, because that will one day, Allahu Alam, come back on you. So, love for your brother or love for yourself. Treat people how you want to be treated. As you do to others, it will be done to you. Don't forget these types of narrations. You want people to talk about you in a respectable, honorable manner, not magnify your faults, not add salt and pepper to matters, then don't allow it to be done to others. Don't allow it to be done to others, and remember, at the end of the day, they're Muslims, and so they have the right to be defended. They're Muslims, and so they have the right to be defended. And sometimes even extreme groups, even groups that we would consider to be non-Muslims. Sometimes even groups that we would consider to be non-Muslims, but they claim to be Muslim. Okay? When they're attacked, we also have to be sometimes smart at times, because they'll attack them and then they'll move more in. So you got the core of Islam, so they'll attack sometimes the fringes because there's less resistance. And then they'll move in, and then they'll move in, and then they'll move in. So sometimes we need to be wise enough to know where's the good, where's the bad, and to ensure we're not fueling the fire, even if people are from other groups. The question he asked, other groups, he didn't even specify. But the fact that they're attacked because of their deen, the Shaykh replied the way he did. The Prophet ﷺ was attacked, and so the da'wah is going to be attacked. And this is the sunnah of Allah Azza wa Jal. And the stronger your iman, the stronger the tests are for you individually. And the stronger the da'wah as a whole, the stronger the attacks against that are going to be. This is a fact, and this is a known, and this is a law that Allah Azza wa Jal has placed. It's a rule that Allah Azza wa Jal has placed. But we need to be conscious of that and aware of that, and not be people who make ourselves weaker than we need to be. La. Stand strong and know what to do at the right time, and this is wisdom in its definition. The next matter, the unacceptable actions of some lead to attacks from the outside. Longer question, number 100. These days we find that those who are secular minded in the media have embarked upon a vicious war against this religion, and more in particular against the youth of the present day Islamic awakening. They are given the opportunity to attack because some among the youth, a very small percentage of them, hold extreme views, but as I said, they represent a tiny minority of the youth who are active Muslims. Some in the media, however, generalize, leveling blame and criticism at all the youth who are part of today's Islamic awakening. What is your view regarding this issue? The Shaykh rahimahullah replies, although what the people of evil do in this regard is wrong, it is what we should expect from them. For they take advantage of any mistake that is committed on the part of one who is a part of any Islamic movement. Concerning the situation you mentioned, had everyone followed a just and moderate course, the movement would have been saved from such situations. Moderate here means the Quran and Sunnah, not moderate as in leaving the Quran and Sunnah as some try to claim today. But the unacceptable actions of some who think themselves to be part of the present Islamic awakening is what has allowed some evildoers to take advantage of the situation. I have heard that the Interior Minister spoke about this very matter, but then qualified his statement saying that the wrong perpetrated by a few does not reflect poorly on most of the youth. And this is good. But ill-intentioned people are not just. They do not limit the fault of any wrong to the wrongdoer himself, but rather they generalize, pointing their blame at everyone. One who reads newspapers knows exactly what I am referring to. One will find the same journalists do not limit their blame to certain youth who do wrong. Instead, they attack the very foundations of our society and our religion. And this is something that we must avoid. Those whom Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has endowed with authority should prevent such evil people from realizing their goals. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to protect these lands from evil and trials, and to protect us from slipping into error. The Shaykh rahmatullahi alayhi, he gives a beautiful way to deal with matters, and that's be realistic. Unfortunately, we have too many people that victimize themselves, and all they want to do is put the blame on others. Stop shifting the blame and realize our actions have consequences. This is a life rule. This is a principle that you need to live by, and inshallah azza wa jal, you'll be successful and happy because of it. Number one, your actions have consequences. Stop crying when you do something and then someone reacts in a certain way. If you speed and highway patrol gets you and you get a fine, don't cry wolf. Don't say, oh, why did you do that? Don't cry victim. Don't say, why did you do that? How do you do that? You're picking on me. What about all of these other cars? Hold on a second. Did you speed? Yes. Did you get caught? Yes. Then that's your consequence of your action. Stop. Move on with your life. Take it like a man, as they say. You sped, you got caught, take the fine. Pay the fine. Wassalamu ala man ittaba al-huda. Done. What a lot of people do is, they do things in society, they dress a certain way, for example. Then they complain, why are people looking at me? Why are people talking about me? Why are people commenting the way that they're commenting? Didn't you dress like that? Yes. Didn't you take that risk knowing the consequences? Yes. So then put up with it. People that write certain posts and get certain backlash. People that put themselves out there and then receive certain media attention. People that say certain things to their spouse and get a certain response. People that raise their kids a certain way and then reap what they sowed. You done the action, you ran the risk, this is the consequence of it. Take it like a man and do what you can about it and don't stop crying. Now stop victimizing yourself. We as Muslims, we need to realize that the shayateen from the human beings and the jinn, they don't want this deen to succeed. And they will do what they can to ensure that it doesn't. Alhamdulillah, Allah Azza wa Jal has sent down Islam, and Allah Azza wa Jal has taken upon Himself to protect Islam. And so no matter what they do, they will never be able to turn off the light of Islam. يريدون ليطفئوا نور الله بأفواههم والله متم نوره ولو كره الكافرون. This is the religion that these people, they want to turn off with their mouths. They speak about it, they hate it. They want to turn off the light of Allah Azza wa Jal, but Allah Azza wa Jal will keep His light alight even if the disbelievers hate it. This religion is not stopping on you and I, dear brother and dear sister. This is the religion of Allah Azza wa Jal. It's going to continue with or without us. But what we shouldn't do, because there's already enough people trying to attack Islam, what we shouldn't do is give reason for people to talk. That's what we shouldn't do. When we have youth posting some of the most ridiculous, non-beneficial nonsense online, that they have no idea what they're saying, how they're saying it. They have no idea what wisdom is. They have no scholarly influence upon them. They have no one to go back to guide them right and wrong. They have no companion of the Prophet ﷺ to use as an example. They have nothing. But they think that this is bravado, this is showing the haqq, this is how it needs to be, this is me not fearing the creation. Ya subhanallah. Find me a scholar that talks like that. Find me a scholar that talks in that context. Find me a scholar that will advise you to do what you've done. And the sad reality is that you won't find. But what are you doing now? You're tarnishing the name of Islam. You're tarnishing the name of Islam. This is not a time where you say, Akhi, don't fear the blame of the blamers. This is not a time where you say, the kuffar, they're going to attack Islam anyway. You're right. You're right. We shouldn't fear the blame of the blamers. And the kuffar, they are going to attack Islam. But when do we expect it? That it's going to come naturally. We don't add fuel to the fire. We don't give them reason to talk. The Prophet ﷺ was still the best of the best. He didn't give the kuffar a reason to talk. They spoke even though he done everything right. And that's how we should be. Do everything right. And if they speak, they speak. But I don't add fuel to the fire. I don't make it worse. And some of the youth, the way that they want to dress, or the way that they want to act, or certain activities that they want to carry out, or certain things that they want to post, what benefit did you get out of that? What benefit did you get? What Islamic benefit did you get? How did you advance the cause of Islam? The sad reality is you didn't. All you did was you gave more fuel for the enemies of Islam to talk. That's all you done. You gave more evidence for them to use against you in court. That's all you done. You turned people off Islam, and you're affirming what they're portraying Muslims to be like in the media. What did you achieve? What did we achieve by doing so? We do what's good. We do what's upright. We do what's pleasing to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We are people who are wise. We are people who have basira. We have insight. We are people that have great akhlaq. We are people that try and be the best role models we can in all facets of life to all of the creation. We try and be as good as we can. Even when we do that, yes, you're going to cop backlash. That's fine. That's expected. That's not a problem. But you don't go outside and make yourself a person who causes and brings problems on himself. No. Just like the religion, the Prophet said, began strange. بدأ الإسلام غريبا وسيعود غريبا فطوبى للغرباء. Islam started off as something strange and it will return back to being something strange. So glad tidings be to the strangers. You don't go and make yourself a stranger. Yani, you don't go and act differently, act strangely, and then say, oh, people are going to call me a stranger. Like, you don't go, for example, and sleep in a park and say, what are you doing? You have your house there. Akhi, yani, the mujahidun, they sleep and the rock is their ground, the ground is their mattress, and the rock is their pillow, and the sky is their blanket. And so I want to train myself, and I don't care what people think. Yeah, Rajul, people are going to look at you, subhanAllah, this person has lost his mind. Look after your wife, look after your children, raise them properly. This is, you're trying to train yourself in your backyard. Why in a park where people are looking at you like this person is strange? You don't add to it. You don't make yourself seem strange. You don't add to yourself where people are looking at you like, for example, some people in the height when everyone is talking about terrorism, these people, they want to wear camouflage pants and camouflage shirt and wear the ghutra in a certain way, that everything the people they see on TV, about in their eyes terrorists, this person wears it to Westfields. Why did you wear like that? For what reason? Because you want more attention for yourself? And people tell you, you're attracting unnecessary attention. You say, this is like the ghuraba. This is not the ghuraba. Or we're not worried about the blameless say. Did the Prophet ﷺ dress strange? Did the Prophet dress in a manner to stand out? Did the Prophet ﷺ or Umar radiallahu anhu, or Bakr radiallahu anhu, Uthman radiallahu anhu, Ali radiallahu anhu, Sa'ad radiallahu anhu, did Zubayr radiallahu anhu, did they go and they dress strange? Or they wore normal, they dressed normal, they ate normal, they drove normal? Some people are pumping Surah and Anashid. Why? What are you benefiting? When you're pumping Surah and Anashid and other people to look at you? We don't fear anyone except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But why? What are you achieving? What are you achieving? Except bringing unnecessary attention that doesn't benefit Islam in any way, shape or form. Believe me, with your normal beard, your normal clothes, your normal implementation of your religion, your wife's normal hijab, they're going to speak and they're going to say and they're going to do. Through your normal dealings of, sorry, I can do this, I'm sorry, I can't do that, or sorry, I have to do this, when your work dealings, they're going to understand. They're going to look at it as strange. But that's just implementation of your deen. That's enough, that's fine, that's natural. That you can't shake hands with women, that you can't go to parties where there's alcohol, that you can only eat halal meat, that you need to go to Salat al-Jumu'ah, that you need to wear hijab, that you need to pray during work hours. That's for them strange enough. That's what being a stranger is in that context. But to go and to say, I want to do it this way, and even though the Sharia didn't oblige you to do it, it didn't recommend that you do it, if anything, it could be considered makruh or haram. You go and you make yourself look like a stranger. La. That's not what the religion told us to do. So, even though they're going to speak, we don't give them a reason to speak. Allah musta'an. Allah, some people that lack, again, these proper teachings. That's why proper teachings are so important, because they lack these proper teachings and these proper lessons, and being mentored through ulama and mashayikh and those who learned of them. We find we make these silly mistakes that are unnecessary. There's a difference between theoretic knowledge and understanding how to apply that theoretic knowledge. Allah musta'an. The last point for today, even though there's a little bit, it's a little bit long. Although they are righteous in appearance, some who invite to the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala follow ways that are contrary to the way of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The question 101. In the Islamic world, there are a group called Jamaat al-Da'wah al-Tabligh. The followers of this group are indoctrinated in stages, in gradual steps. They are made to follow the way of tasawwuf, Sufi practices, and ultimately of giving bay'ah, pledge of allegiance to its leader. They also innovate in the way that they read in invocations. What should the policy of a student of knowledge be in dealing with the members of this group? So again, just some points before. The general rule is that we don't speak about other groups in platforms which can easily be accessed by people, and they don't understand the context or the background, and we're not in person to explain. But because we're going through the book and we're in the situation that we're in, we have spoken before and we mentioned some principles. And here the question comes again with Jamaat al-Tabligh. So I invoke every single person to ensure that they don't take one word out of context, two, they don't take general words that are mentioned and apply it the way that they think is correct. the Shaykh rahimahullah says, as long as the group is outwardly good in its upright and its performance of da'wah, the student of knowledge should welcome it. But at the same time, he must correct any deviance or mistake that it caused to. One such example is pledging allegiance, yani giving bay'ah, to the leader of the group instead of the overall leader of the country. If they choose a leader among them whenever they go on a journey or trip, then that is from the Sharia, because taking a leader is different from pledging allegiance overall. For the Messenger ﷺ ordered those who go on a journey, if they were a group of at least 3, to appoint one of them as a leader over the rest. Whenever a group of people is together, or whenever a group of people are together, they need to have a leader who has authority and the final say in matters, or else chaos will result. So the first thing the Shaykh rahimahullah focuses on is the positive. That one, if they show goodness, then alhamdulillah is good, because we judge off the apparent. If they show goodness, then that's good. As for the bad, then we should welcome it. As for the bad, then we do our best to correct. For us to put a line through someone straight away because there's some deviance or there's some bad or there's some misguidance there, then this is problematic, because who doesn't have it? Who does not have a fault in their life that we can't pick on if we wanted to and say this is deviant, it's wrong? We will not even leave anyone, including ourselves. Naam. So our first stance is that we welcome the people and we do our best to correct that mistake. We specify what the mistakes are and then we call it to be rectified. And also there's the Shaykh shows a very important difference, and this is part of the job of the ulama and the mashayikh and the students of knowledge, to clarify when something is actually a problem, when it's not. So sometimes groups take someone as an amir, and then other people that don't have enough knowledge, they try and attack that. And that's why I said when we spoke about the first point about the amir, then there's no problem in taking a leader, but we understand the limitations of that leader, that he's not the overall leader like a khalifa, and is also not above the rules of Islam. And so the Shaykh here rahimahullah is showing, because it was mentioned, the Shaykh is clarifying that just so you know, you can have a leader, there's no problem having a leader, but you're just not having a person who goes to the level of a khalifa. So again, clarification, whenever someone comes to you and you're a da'i or you're in a position where alhamdulillah you have some knowledge, you have to understand what the question is actually trying to say. And if there's any points there, to increase in your answer, to clarify those points that are around it. Here we must make an important distinction between the leader of a group during a journey, for example, and the overall leader of the Muslims. As for the latter, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made it obligatory upon us to obey him at all times, and not just while we are together on a journey, as opposed to the leader of a traveling party, and support him upon the truth. With this distinction in mind, it is not permissible to pledge allegiance to anyone other than the overall leader. Without a doubt, among those who call to the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, there are some who seem good when seen from the outside, but who follow ways that are contrary to the Prophet ﷺ came with. In dealing with such people, we should enter into their company and observe what they do. If we find out that they are upon falsehood, we should point out their mistakes. If they return to the truth, we will have achieved what we had set out to achieve. But if they persist in following their evil ways, we must not only stay away from them, but we must also warn people about the misguidance they are upon, so that people do not become deceived by their outward appearance. And you see here, the Shaykh makes it from something specific where it's personal and sensitive and emotional to a general point. And this is something that so many people that are they have some sort of knowledge, okay? They're not completely ignorant individuals, nor are they any proper full-time students of knowledge. They're people that love knowledge, they love their religion, they're passionate. Sometimes they can make a mistake in doing where they go and they try and discuss matters or get into matters where there's a lot of sensitivity around it, and they don't treat it sensitively, or they make a matter personal and it doesn't need to be personal. So the Shaykh took the question from being asked about Jama'at al-Tabligh and gave you a general principle. And this is from the wisdom of the Shaykh and the wisdom of the ulama, and something which we should try and implement as much as we can, where we give people general principles to go by so that they have something to navigate their way through problems in life. Now, the Shaykh is taking it from specifically Jama'at al-Tabligh and telling in general. If someone looks good from the outside, then we mix with them, we talk with them, we get involved with them. Then when we know them intricately, if we see mistakes, then we point out those mistakes. okay, this is the issue because of matter X, Y, Z. If there's disagreement and it's valid, that's fine. But if there's disagreement and it's something very wrong, it could be matters of shirk, matters of innovations, matters of kufr, matters of complete deviance going against the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, then, and they're not willing to change, then we can go and tell people that need to be told, listen, stay away from this group for reason X, Y, Z. But if they're amongst the realm of Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah, in the broader sense, they're from the realm of Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah, in their core beliefs, in their principles, etc. Maybe they have some mistakes or they're very close to it. Then our warning against them is only ever when it leads to, inshallah, a greater good. But we need to be smart and understand when the greater good is and when it's not. And we get to our senior mashaykh and ulama for that. As for people that are very far away from the sunnah, then we warn against them. We remind the people to stay away from them. But again, that's done with wisdom, it's done with insight, it's done in appropriate ways at appropriate times with appropriate words. But people where there's a question mark about them, then we need to find out their reality. Too many people speak based off hearsay, based off done, and we're not allowed to do that. We have to فَتَبَيَّنُوا. We have to do what Allah said in the Quran, to clarify, to make sure. أَن تُصِيبُوا قَوْمًا بِجَهَالَةٍ فَتُصْبِحُوا عَلَى مَا فَعَلْتُمْ نَادِمِينَ. Otherwise, you go and you speak about people and you're wrong, and then you regret what you've done, because you cause problems unnecessarily. So we make sure we clarify the information that's there. If there are mistakes, then we give those people da'wah and we try and rectify those mistakes. If those mistakes, they say no, we're going to stay upon them, we're not going to change, then at times like that, we have to look and study the matter. Is it better to speak openly against these people excuse me, and warn against them, or is it better to remain quiet but disassociate ourselves with them and for the greater good? And as I mentioned, it goes back to al-maslaha and al-mafsada. Inshallah, not corona, just alhamdulillah, been speaking for a while. We go back and we look at that matter, and then we come to a conclusion. This is inshallah for today, and inshallah will continue next week. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.